It's funny how the most, well, ordinary things can hide these really extraordinary stories. Like, take a plastic clothes hanger. Simple, right? We all use them. Probably never think twice. But what if I told you that little thing is part of well, a multi-billion-dollar global market? Okay, let's unpack this. That sounds pretty wild, doesn't it? Just how much are we actually talking about?
What's fascinating here is exactly the hidden scale of these everyday items. So today we're doing a deep dive into the global plastic clothes hangers market. We've got some really detailed market projections looking back at 2021, ahead to 2025, and even a long-term view out to 2033. It's all backed by compound annual growth rates, CAGRs. And the source for this data, cognitive market research.
Right. And just to set the scene, we're not talking small amounts here. Back in 2021, the global market for these hangers, it generated $1.53 billion in sales revenue.
Billion, with a B.
Exactly. I mean, think about that. If a hanger costs, say, 50 cents, that's billions and billions of hangers every year. And looking ahead, by 2033, it's forecast to hit over $3.4 billion. That's a really healthy global compound annual growth rate, too, 6.88%.
Yeah, pretty solid.
So the market's set to more than double in value over about a decade. Pretty remarkable for, well, plastic hangers.
It really is. But while those global numbers are impressive, the real insights, the kind of aha moments, they come when we start breaking it down by region, by country. You see these different growth patterns, and they tell you a lot about consumption habits, manufacturing, market dynamics all over the world.
Right.
We need to look beneath the surface of those big numbers.
Right. Let's do that. Where should we kick things off? Maybe North America.
Sounds good. North America is a big piece of the puzzle. Back in 2021, that region alone was worth nearly $461 million.
Okay.
And it's climbing steadily, projected to reach almost $970 million by 2033.
Wow, nearly $1 billion just there.
Yeah, with regional KGNR of around 6.5%.
So within North America, where's the main action? What's pushing that growth?
Well, no huge surprise here. The United States is the dominant player. It's projected to more than double its 2021 market size by 2033.
Okay.
Growing at a pretty steady 6.4% CAGR. And that really reflects a mature but still, dynamic consumer market. Think about the sheer volume of clothes people buy, the demand from retailers, especially with e-commerce booming.
Right. Online shopping needs hangers, too.
Absolutely. And Canada and Mexico, they're showing significant progress, too. Similar KGRs. It signals consistent demand across the continent, as incomes rise and modern retail spreads out.
Makes sense. Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe. Their market was over $320 million in 2021.
That's right, heading towards nearly $687 million by 2033.
And the CAGR there?
About 6.68% for the region overall.
Okay. It's interesting, though, looking at the breakdown, the growth rates seem quite varied across Europe. Beyond just the economics, are there maybe other factors, like cultural things or policies around sustainability, perhaps? Things that might explain why some countries are growing a bit slower than others?
That's a really good question. And yes, you do see differences. Germany, for example, shows a really robust 7.1% CAGR, a very dynamic market there. Right. It's projected to hit over $128 million by 2033. The UK is also quite strong, growing at nearly 7%. Should reach almost $77 million from, nearly $35 million in 2021.
Significant jump.
Definitely. And these often line up with strong retail sectors, consumer demand for fashion variety. But then you see countries like, say, Italy and Russia with slightly lower CAGR, still positive, but lower.
Right.
That might suggest different levels of market saturation, or maybe, like you said, evolving preferences, perhaps towards more durable goods, or even a slow shift to other types of hangers.
Interesting. And what about the rest?
Well, Spain, Sweden, others show steady growth.
Right.
But the rest of Europe category, that actually has the highest European CAGR at 7.7%.
Oh, really?
Yeah, suggests quite a bit of activity in smaller or maybe emerging markets within Europe. Could be cross-border trade, new retail popping up.
Fascinating. Okay, now for what sounds like a major growth engine, Asia Pacific. Nearly $550 million in sales back in 2021, and projected to reach a massive $1.28 billion by 2033.
That's the forecast, with a very strong regional CAGR of 7.53%.
Wow, that is a huge leap. But, thinking about the global push for sustainability, does this really strong growth in plastic hangers, especially in massive markets like China and India, does that present a kind of challenge or maybe an opportunity for innovation in materials?
It absolutely highlights that tension, doesn't it? between, current economic drivers and future sustainability goals. The explosive growth you see in China and India, it's not just population.
Right.
It reflects this burgeoning middle class, changing consumer habits, more fast fashion, the rapid expansion of online retail, all driving demand for cheap, efficient packaging and hangers.
And the numbers show that clearly.
Oh, yeah. China is the clear leader, projected to hit over $538 million by 2033, and its CAGR, an impressive 8.05%.
8%.
And India's right there, too, in terms of growth rate, also around 8%, expected to reach over $255 million by 2033.
So those two are really driving that regional average up.
Massively. It indicates this huge shift in consumption as these economies grow. It's a giant market opportunity, yes, but also a very clear signal about the need for sustainable alternatives to grow alongside this demand.
And other places in Asia Pacific?
Well, Japan shows solid growth, around 7%. Australia, South Korea, more moderate rates, suggest different stages of market maturity across the region.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's head south now. South America, what's the story there? Similar drivers.
Pretty similar, yeah. South America as a whole had a market of about $87 million in 2021.
Okay.
But it's surging to over $231 million forecast for 2033. That's a strong regional CGR of 7.07%.
7%, okay. And who leads there?
Brazil leads the charge. Its CAGR is 7.27%, almost tripling its market size by 2033. Colombia also shows really high growth, around 7.25%.
So what's fueling that?
Largely the same things we've seen elsewhere. Increasing urbanization, a growing middle class with more money to spend, and the expansion of, organized retail chains and e-commerce.
The familiar pattern.
Exactly. As more people move to cities, adopt modern shopping habits, demand for everyday stuff like hangers just follows. It mirrors what we've seen globally in developing economies.
The other countries there?
Argentina, Peru, Chile, all contributing positively. KGRs between 6.5% and 6.8%, so pretty broad growth across the region.
Good to see. Okay, how about the Middle East? Often see some unique economic factors there.
In the Middle East, the market was nearly $75 million in 2021,
Right.
growing to almost $150 million by 2033, but the regional KGR is a bit lower, 5.45%.
More moderate then.
Yeah, steady growth, but more moderate. Saudi Arabia is the largest contributor, projected to hit over $61 million by 2033. UAE and Egypt are also significant players. KGRs around 5.8%, 5.6% respectively.
Right.
Similar combination. Population growth, rising incomes, development of modern retail. But compared to, say, Asia Pacific or South America, it's a slower expansion. Could be different clothing consumption habits, maybe more traditional ways of storing clothes are still prevalent.
Interesting.
And actually, the rest of the Middle East category shows the lowest KGR in the entire global analysis we looked at, 4.88%.
Really? Lowest overall.
Yep. Indicates slower expansion in those combined markets. Might hint at more established, less rapidly changing retail scenes, or perhaps those unique cultural norms you mentioned.
Fascinating detail. Okay, let's round out our world tour. Africa. What's the picture there?
Africa's market was valued around $35 million back in 2021.
Okay, smaller base.
Exactly. Projected to grow to nearly $75 million by 2033. The regional CGR is 5.18%.
And within Africa?
Nigeria shows strong growth, 5.38% CAGR, heading towards over $19 million by 2033. South Africa is actually the largest market currently, projected to reach over $31 million by 2033, with a slightly lower CGR of 5.03%.
So Africa has the lowest collective growth rate among the major regions.
It does, but it's crucial to remember these are still positive growth trends, just starting from a smaller base.
Right.
The underlying drivers are similar to other developing regions. Urbanization, growth of a consumer class, retail becoming more formalized, moving away from informal markets.
So it's still an upward trajectory.
Definitely. The numbers might be smaller now, but the direction is up. It signals a continent with, frankly, immense long-term potential for market expansion in lots of consumer goods categories.
Wow. Okay. So what does this all mean? We started with this simple plastic hanger. And we've just toured a global market worth billions, stretching across continents, projecting decades out. It's truly amazing how much money is tied up in something so common and how its growth reflects these huge global economic shifts.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the main takeaway is pretty clear, isn't it? The global plastic clothes hanger market, it's not just growing steadily overall. The really interesting part is the significant regional differences in demand and growth rates. So for you, the listener, tracking these market dynamics, understanding why China's the AGR is so much higher than, say, Australia's. That lets us pinpoint emerging opportunities, see evolving consumption patterns driven by things like city growth, e-commerce, changing incomes. It really reveals these sort of foundational, almost invisible economic currents shaping the world.
Absolutely. And it really leaves us with a provocative thought, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking about these forecasts, this continued expansion pretty much everywhere.
Hmm.
What does the ongoing demand for plastic hangers tell us about global consumption? Especially things like fast fashion.
Mm.
What does it imply about manufacturing trends, those global supply chains that rely on huge volumes of cheap goods? And maybe most importantly, what are the challenges and the opportunities for innovation in materials and sustainability in different places? Especially when you think about the environmental impact of billions and billions of plastic hangers.
Yeah.
What might a deep dive into alternative hanger materials look like down the road? Something to think about.